The simplest way to put it, I have problems.
I'm gonna hit you with the first question. My first question: tell us your name and tell us how long you've been doing comedy.
Jimmy Moynihan is my name. I've been doing comedy for almost 6 years.
6?
Yeah.
6 in the game?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bro, see, I hate you. I hate you already. This is what kills me about Austin. Every time I meet a comic and they're really good and they got great stage presence, and I'll go, "How long you been in this?" And they'll be like, "Oh, 3 years." And I'm like, 3? Okay, you're already at this level.
It's
3?
crazy.
Yeah, no, man, this is I know a lot of people talk about, it's, we're only getting paid this much for shows, or it's hard to get stage time because there's so many of us.
Right.
But iron sharpens iron. You don't get better in a bubble without competition.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a lot of you guys in the 3 to 6 that make me, y'all are the reason I work hard now.
Right.
I hate all of y'all. That's why I'm staying alive on spite. I got to outlive all of you.
Yeah, the competition definitely helps.
All right, 6.
Yeah.
Where did you start at?
I started in upstate New York.
Okay.
I did it for about 7 months in college.
Okay.
And then I quit for a long time. And then I started up again right before I moved to Florida. And then I did it in right outside of Orlando, Florida for about 4.5 years.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Now Florida's y'all got some killers down there.
Killers. Yeah.
I've been through Florida. So I met like Nick Masick, Colin Bohannon, and those guys.
Yeah, they're great.
Met a couple other people that I was just like, oh, Florida's just building killers quietly. Because if you think about Florida and their comedy scene, you always think, oh, New York, LA.
Yeah.
But Florida's got straight murderers.
So many. It's wild. I mean, like, David Jolly and Cam Patterson.
Yeah, that's right.
And, there's Christoph Jean, who just moved here.
Did they?
Yeah. And it's so funny. A lot of the people that I'm started in Florida with are here now, which is really cool.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Y'all stay in Florida.
Yeah.
Y'all good. Stay in Florida.
We just literally jumped up and all landed in Austin.
Well, I was just in Louisiana. I was in Gonzales, Louisiana, and we did the Lunchbox Comedy Festival for Jeff Vance. And when we were there were a lot of Florida comics at that.
Yeah.
For a 2-day festival. And I met so many more, and every one of them just like, hey, you're going to close out tonight. And I'm watching all these comics go up, and I say, I got to work tonight. That's what you're telling me. I refuse to let the 4th guy on this show be better than me. I got to be stronger than his set. So I'm watching everybody set and go, who was the worst one? Okay. They're all good. I got to be better than everybody. I got to be the one that's most memorable tonight. So it was fun, but man, I'm Florida. Y'all represent. I'll give y'all the shout out.
Yeah. I appreciate that. It definitely helped me get better.
Oh yeah.
Because everyone was so good. Yeah. And I needed, even in a smaller area, I needed to get better just to, to get stage time.
And to stand out, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. When you were up in upstate New York, what city?
Binghamton.
Okay, so how far is that from Poughkeepsie and all that? Or that's in Buffalo near?
Binghamton is closer to like Syracuse, and
what?
So
okay.
from Poughkeepsie, it's probably about 3 hours.
It is 3 from. Okay, so you're up.
Yeah.
Oh
upstate.
Man, upstate. Yeah. You're like, man, I might as well be Canada. Let's say I was a Canadian comedian. But so, what made you get into it?
I always found my value from making people laugh in high school, so that was like always in my head that's the value I brought. But then in college, I had dated this girl and she had broken up with me and started dating her high school boyfriend. And I had the idea of, well, I'll do stand-up comedy, invite her to a show, and she'll see that I'm funny, and she'll want to get back together with me. And so I contacted like the Activity Student Union.
Yeah.
And they let me open for a comic that was performing there. And I invited her. She came. I did not well at all.
Yeah.
And then that was it. She stayed with her boyfriend.
She's like, yeah, I know I made the right decision here. Yeah. First of all, I give you,
so
that
dumb.
is your villain era. That is a villain origin story. Is what it is.
The stupidest idea ever. But then when I did it, I got addicted. I'm like, I wanted to do it again. And then I bombed, the second time, third time.
Yeah.
And then I just kept doing it. I was addicted.
See, it is a drug, and you will know quickly after that first time on stage.
Yeah.
Do I want to do this again, or is this something I will never try again?
Yeah. Immediately, I knew I wanted to do it, and I was so nervous. My whole right leg was shaking, like literally shaking to a point where I'm thinking, like, oh my God, they can see that I'm terrified.
Yes.
Like, and I couldn't stop it, and I was looking at the ground because I have so much anxiety, and it was, oh man. So it was like horrific experience, and for whatever reason, I wanted to keep doing it.
I'm a hand guy.
Yeah.
I'm a hand guy. In fact, Chris Chan saw me, I'm going to say during the pandemic, 2020. I was still, I'm years into this at that point, and my hand was shaking like this.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I guess that was year 18 for me of comedy.
Yeah.
And I was at a show, and he's like, hey, do you have a medical issue? And I guess some of the comics that noticed my hands when I would start with shake, and I'd have to hold my hands like this.
Right.
And they all literally thought I had Parkinson's.
Oh, wow.
Because my hands would shake. And I would tell them, no, that's how you're going to get a good show.
Yeah.
If I go into a show and I'm not a little bit nervous about the performance, I'm going to robotically just go through that show.
100%. Yeah.
But if my hand is shaking, I'm concerned about the show. I want to give you a good show. There's going to be, that show you're about to watch is going to be probably one that you want to record.
Yeah.
So I still to this day do that, man. But now I also been in therapy, so I've learned how to meditate.
Oh, yeah.
I have to do all kinds of weird stuff before a show. Like I'll go get alone and I'll look at my phone and I'll kind of doom scroll.
Yeah.
But it'll just make the anxiety get quiet. That voice will kind of quiet itself down. Then I'm like, hey, do the deep breathing exercise. Let's go.
Right. So you doom scrolling lowers your anxiety? Is it just distracting yourself?
Just distracting.
Yeah.
I'm not even clicking on anything. It's just basically just scrolling. I'm not even
turning
reading
off
it.
The mind,
just like, I'm going to quiet you down. You're just going to look at pretty pictures and scroll. And then once you shut up, I can do the deep breathing and actually get control of this.
So do you still have that anxiety like that before you go on stage? Wow.
Yeah. Now, 22 years, man. This is year 22. And I still, I get nervous before sets. I still panic sometimes and think I'm going to forget a joke.
Yeah.
And if you see me do a show, once I hit, sometimes I'll just hit the ground sprinting.
Yeah.
Just like I'm coming in, first 5 seconds of the show, I'm going to say something out of pocket. I'm going to disrupt the energy, and I got to that's me getting that out.
Yeah.
And once I hear that first pop of laughter, I feel better. But there are times where my anxiety was so high, I'd be crushing and I wouldn't even know it.
Wow.
Because I'm in my head thinking, well, what's the next joke?
Yeah.
Well, what was the tag for that joke? Oh, you just wrote that tag on the spot. You got to write that down. You can't write it down, you dummy. You're on stage. So I was like, I'm going to forget this tag.
Yeah.
Why did I not record? So I'd be having these anxiety attacks for our audience to watch.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it. You're anywhere but the present.
Yeah. And they're just like, this dude is murdering. But it's one of the things that I look back at some old performance and I'll go, oh, that was a good performance, but I was not having a good time. And they was like, what? I said, nobody could tell. Y'all can't. But I know what I was thinking at the time, and I was not enjoying myself.
Wow.
I have way more fun now. These last couple of years, if you see me on stage these last few years since I kind of gotten into therapy and learned all this stuff, I am genuinely having a blast on stage.
Yeah.
It can be 8 people, it could be 800. I'm having the greatest time of my life up there.
That's amazing, and everyone can tell that.
I think I exude some joy now, and then I'm more willing to hang out after shows, and I want to meet people and stuff. But before, I'd just be a big old ball of anxiety, and everybody like, you do all this stand-up comedy, and you talk to people, and you are nervous to go talk to them one-on-one? Yes, because they're going to see me. They're going to see the real me. guy on the stage had lights on him. That's a rock star. They're going to find out that's not a rock star. That's a dude that likes Creed. He just sings good. I am the Creed of comedy. That's me.
You just have this fear that no one's going to like you for who you are, which is like, which is just not true.
But that's the thing. You said the very thing. I've met so many comedians that say what you said. It's like I validated myself by my ability to make others laugh and bring joy to them. And I think that's we're all lovable clowns. That's all the clown is.
Yeah. No, people like me. It took me so long I'm just starting to learn now that people like me for who I am. And it benefits your comedy when you know that, because you start being more of yourself on stage. And and that's, it's just a relief. But yeah, like my mindset still a lot of the times is like, oh, I hope people like me. I hope, people hate me, or it's it's kind of self-obsession, but
we're our own worst critics, man.
Yeah.
The worst review I've ever had came from me. I've always the worst review.
Oh my God. If I said some of the stuff that I say to myself to other people, I mean, I would have no friends.
Zero. Oh man, I am my own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And I hear the stuff I say. I just now started writing jokes about my mistakes, because a lot of times I wouldn't talk about that.
Right.
And then I don't know what happened. I want to say 2020. It was probably the weirdest time for everybody. The best time for me as a comedian.
Really?
It changed my whole life, because in 2020, I'd been working for a video game company, Electronic Arts.
Oh, wow.
I quit that job. Like I knew a year before January 27th, I'm quitting on this day.
Right.
You get me for a year. I'm going to finish out all the games we're going to launch. And then I'm quitting. And I told my family, you're all on my insurance policy till you're 27. Get everything you need.
Yeah.
Daddy's quitting. He's going to go live for himself. And so I was working toward that, and I built up a tour. Like I was plotting it out. Hey, I can go on the road this date. I had this whole tour. I'm like, I'm about to be a stand-up comedian. It's going to be amazing. I got all these old connects I knew, and they put together this tour for me. And this is old school. And then this thing happened like March 12th. I was at my house, and I got a call, and they were like, hey, there's this weird thing called COVID going around, and it's only going to offset the tour by 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks? That ain't no big deal. And that was the longest 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah, very long 2 weeks.
Long 2 weeks. And I was,
oh man.
I remember just kind of, I had money saved up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got 6 months worth of income, because I was waiting for comedy to kick in. I wanted to have a cushion.
Right.
And as that account started dwindling, and I'm sitting in my house playing Animal Crossing, and my voice in my head starts going,
oh shit,
you messed up.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to kill yourself. That's the only way you get out of this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if I could do that. And so I worked in the video game industry.
You had the perfect job for COVID.
Oh yeah, I had it. It was perfect.
It was like, that would have been great.
Yeah, so I took all my skills, and then what I did is, like, I used to do this thing where I assisted project managers.
Yeah.
And I went and got a Scrum certification, and I could be able to run a meeting. But what I would do for like a video game, we'd go, hey, you guys are the graphic guys. Is there anything blocking you? You guys are working on sound. And I, for these project managers, well, these guys got this is this, here's what happened in the meeting. So I did that, and I scrummed what I call my death book.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I was going to kill myself, and killing myself is the video game,
right?
How do we launch that game?
Wow.
And I created this whole,
shit.
It was dark, dude.
That's very dark.
I created this whole thing.
Love
Okay, by this week, you would have to have this done in order for the death to be successful. And then, I was Googling like medicine combinations. What happens if you mix this and this? So these were like DLC product. I really had it listed in a death book. And I was like, I'm not doing comedy, and this is not ending, and I don't have a plan in 6 months.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. And so then I say, like, here's how deep it got. I was at the part where it's like, I can't do it in my car, because, when you die, you're going to void yourself.
Right.
So I'll ruin the car.
Yeah.
And my kid needs this car. So I can't do it in this house. My family will freak out. They're not going to be able to sell a house during the pandemic.
Oh my God.
So I got to go to a hotel. I hate doing this at a hotel, but this is going to ruin this lady's life that discovers my body. The cleaning lady's just trying to make it. So I'm going to do it at this hotel. I got to do it in a hotel, not in the city I'm from.
Right.
So I'm looking at hotels in Temple and Waco.
Holy shit.
Like I had it plotted out to the minute, to the second.
Right.
And so then all of a sudden, somebody said something to me one day, and I said, yeah, I'm working on a project too. My buddy said, what is it? And I said, oh, it's kind of weird to say, but I created a death book. And he was, what's that? I said, just a journal on how I would kill myself. And the look on his face.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
We're on a Discord call, and I said it like so casually, and I looked at him, and on that video monitor, I see his face and I see mine, and I'm going, that's not normal, is it? And he's like, no, it's not. And I just remember thinking, I got to go get help because I've gone too far down this.
Too far.
I'm in the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I'm in Neverland.
100%. Because at that point, I'm watching this documentary on HBO, and it starts with like, it's kind of like they were saying it's the idealization of suicide is kind of like addiction, where it starts with like you just think, oh, it'd be better if I wasn't alive, and then that's not enough. So you have to think about different ways you would do it, and then that gets you a little high, and then that's not enough. And then you have to start thinking like stuff that you did, like where you're planning out specific things.
I have specifically plotted it out.
So that's scary that you got that far.
I'm knocking on the door. Because the next thing to do is, okay, this date is the day. We're launching this day.
Yeah.
And so it planned. I had to do, as soon as I got into therapy and we got to talk, and they just talk. And I was like, okay. And I talked, and then it came out.
Yeah.
And hey. In fact, let me show you. And I opened up the second screen. It was a video meeting because it was COVID.
Yeah.
So I said, here, let me share my second monitor with you. And I shared it. Wow. Here's the book. And here's what I've done. And I'm just looking at this psychiatrist go, you take no meds, right? No. And then she said something to me. She said, I know you're a good comedian. I said, why? She said, I've laughed several times, and this is the darkest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I was like, thanks, you may be my last critic.
Oh,
okay,
no.
you may be my last. Thank you. It was a good performance. But but she actually was like, I had to like, hey, you got to talk to your family about this. We're going to get you in counseling, and we're going to set you up with all this stuff. And I refused to do meds. That was my whole thing. It's like, I'll do everything, but I don't want to take meds.
Yeah.
I did it once before. I don't like that zombie feeling. I'd rather raw dog life. But she was like, look, I'm not telling you what to do, but there are a lot of meetings that are doing Delta 8, Delta 10. She said, just take the edge off. Whatever you want to do, we're not telling you to. You need an outlet. Yeah. So I did start it. Because I would have severe insomnia. So I did start. I'm going to pop a med just to sleep.
Right.
I'm going to do this to sleep. I'll take a gummy, and I could go to sleep. I can't stay asleep.
Stay asleep, yeah.
So I was taking gummies, and I did the mushrooms. I did a bunch of stuff to try to self-medicate. And then all of a sudden, one day, January of last year, I haven't done anything since.
Wow.
So I'm just raw dogging this thing now. But I'm in a better place after therapy and meditation, learning some stuff. But I got close, bro.
Wow, very close.
Close.
And thank God you got help.
Oh yeah, but we've had a death in the scene.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that bothers me now is when I look at the comedy scene in Austin, we've had a comedian commit suicide.
Yeah,
but I've been at this 22 years, and I think of all the comedians I've watched.
Yeah,
that are no longer with me.
Yeah, that
I started with that don't do this anymore because they're not here on the plane with me.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me start thinking about, hey, that could have been you, Roderick. That was your 2020.
100%. Yeah.
You're grace of God, you're still here doing this.
The point where you were where you're making the plans and have the specifics, that's just really, really scary.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
What most people don't have, here's the thing I'll say this. A lot of comics have a plan for success. We know what we want to do to be successful.
Yeah.
We don't have an exit option.
No.
We don't have, a lot of us don't have something like I at least had a college degree. I had some stuff I could have fallen back on.
Yeah.
But I did not have a plan for COVID. Nobody did. No corporation had a COVID plan.
No one, yeah.
But I, being who I am mentally, was like, I messed up because I didn't have a plan. Mm-hmm. And so, I was like, no, nobody had one, Roger.
No one. Yeah.
Let's be realistic. Nobody expected this shutdown or pandemic.
Yeah, and with comedy, there can't really be a backup plan. Like I don't have any other plan but comedy, and it's scary sometimes. I mean, it's terrifying. It's like, what if something happens and I can't do comedy anymore? I don't have I don't have a plan. I think that's where me building my life up around comedy. Well, comedy, I want to be what I do. I think I need other stuff to build around me. And so like comedy isn't like my higher power, my God, because that's dangerous.
Because what happens when your God abandons you?
Yeah.
And then you're like, and that's where I was at mentally. I didn't think I was doing that. I thought I had, I got this great life. I had no exit strategy.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, okay, what do we do? Like if this all were to fail tomorrow, you only got so much money in the bank.
Right.
You're trying to start this whole comedy thing. And I wanted to give myself 3 years. That was my number. I said, I got 3 years to try to make this work.
Yeah.
And we're not even 6 months in.
Yeah.
And this is going off the rails. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because once I got in therapy and I started talking about all this stuff, I found out from the VA, they were like, hey, did you know in your record that we think you had PTSD because of the combat action you saw and you were never treated from it?
Yeah.
And I said, I have 3 ex-wives that'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I have some clues, but I didn't know. And then they were like, also, they were telling me stuff like, hey, you were documented as having severe depression this day. Well, I knew about this one because the person told me. I did not know some of this stuff was in my record until I started going to getting help.
Right, and you dug in.
And then my whole focus became, instead of a death book, like, hey, let's go on this mental health journey and document this.
Yeah.
Learn some stuff. And hey, I want to go to group therapy. I want to sit with other veterans that were like, hey, I want to do one-on-one therapy. Hey, I want to learn some meditation techniques. I want to learn mindfulness therapy.
Yeah.
So I started going on this mental health journey. And then the more I went on it, the more I started talking to other comedians. And so there'd be times, you're in the green room, you're having that, it's a jam session in the green room. You're just talking, where you been up to? How's this? How was that show? Who booked that? And then I remember one time, I want to say it was Dave J and Dean Stanfield.
Okay.
They were in the green room with me. And I was talking about, I started therapy and this, I learned this today. And I think I was talking to Dave about it. But as I was talking, I noticed Dean is listening intently. And Dean's a personality. Okay, Dean is always on. So
absolutely,
Dean is like locked in on this conversation. He's not talking. And I'm like, Dean, what do you think about this? And then I'm talking to Dean about it. And then that's how it became this thing where it's like, oh, I'm talking to my peers more about their mental health.
Yeah.
Because nobody's talking to us about that.
No. And I've been going through some really bad depression over the last few months.
Oh.
Like really bad. And just recently have I opened up to comedians about depression and what I'm experiencing. And it's remarkable how many people are currently suffering right now, like not have gotten help, but comics that are currently right in the weeds. So I've learned over the last maybe 3 weeks, I started opening up that there are so many comics that are struggling with mental health and depression, and they hide it. I mean, we're so good at hiding at our sadness,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had days where, I am a wreck. I'll do self-harm. I'll be just negative self-talking all day. I'll be just an absolute wreck, can't get out of bed. And then, 8 o'clock comes and I somehow get myself together and take a shower and somehow drive down. And then I'm like, just able, because I've done it so many times, put myself together enough to pretend I'm okay.
I'm going to get on this stage and do this thing.
And then a lot of the times getting on stage will be that temporary fix, but it's not a fix to my mental health at all. But I mean, it's remarkable how few people would know how badly I suffer from depression. And my depression is really bad. And I've had suicide attempts before. I've been in psychiatric wards before. I've had a lot of drug problems for many years. I mean, just no one sees it. No one, I mean,
we're the greatest maskers ever.
Yeah, so good at masking it. And it's like, I think it might be because like comedy is my escape from my, like, myself. So like when I go downtown and I'm around people, it's like my medicine is escaping from my own self. So when I'm downtown, I usually don't show what I'm really going through.
Right.
But it's gotten so bad of late, and I just recently got help. 9 days ago, I went to integral.
Mm-hmm.
I have trouble with my R's. Care, and got help. But I mean, I think only because I was so depressed, I couldn't hide it around people, and I was starting to do self-harm in front of people. I did it here. I started hitting myself in the head at the creek.
Wow.
And so just from desperation and I started opening up to comedians, and comedians are not ironically, but are the ones that told me about a place where I could go without.
Well, we know all the places.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many of the places we know you can go. Hey, we don't have insurance.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, we do not have insurance. Please tip us at shows. We need the money for chicken sandwiches and depression meds, please.
Yeah, we need money for sure. So yeah, I know it's so real. And it's funny because like the thing that you said with like Dean, just his ears perking up and listening or whatever, I've noticed that as well too. When I start talking about mental health issues, it's like
people that you don't think are listening to that conversation.
Yeah.
And I know we need to be having it more.
Oh, for sure. Oh my God. I mean, for every comedian that has passed away from suicide, there's so many others that we just don't know about that are so close and are right on the cusp. And it's I guess the best thing to do is reach out to your friends that may seem like they're all right, but aren't.
Because no, you don't know who it is, man. And I know that's the thing that, like I say, in 22 years it is, the one that hurt me the most, I'll say it was probably, I got to meet Neil Nanda in Georgetown back when Dean and Spencer were running Barrels and Amps.
Oh, okay.
First year. And I met like Darius Bennett, met Neil. Neil was going to headline that night, and I was going to feature. I did my set. It went well. That was a favorite club. I'd recorded an album there. So I was like a hometown favorite.
Yeah.
And then I got off stage, and I went up to Neil, and I was like, after the show, he crushed. And after the show, I was telling him, man, I want to do what you do.
Yeah.
And he said, that's weird because I want to be you.
Right.
And I said, what? He said, this crowd loves you. I want that.
Yeah.
And I said, bro, but you've been on Comedy Central and you got all these thousands of followers. Yeah. And he said, I want that. And I was like, it kind of made me stop for a second and go, I'm not appreciating where I'm at or what I do have. I'm so busy looking toward this other. Well, I got to get this thing. Well, bro, you don't even appreciate this. That's not going to bring you happiness.
No, always looking at what's next.
Yeah.
It's never going to make you happy.
And then I just stopped, man. And I was thinking about that in therapy. It's like, that's what my therapist has been.
Yeah.
Look at where you are now and look at all those things that you didn't have.
Yeah.
That you have now.
Seriously. Yeah.
And go, oh. And that brings you to the question, what is success?
Right.
Because I never thought about what success was. Like success, I used to think when I first started was, man, one day I'm going to be a feature and I'm going to do 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I got it made once I got 15. And then I was like a feature and doing 15s and 30s. And I was like, man, I got to be a headliner.
Yeah, of course.
Well, what is success
so
anyway, man?
Next? That's a good question. Because my version of success is constantly changed. I guess being able to do, as far as comedy, being able to make a living off doing stand-up comedy, I guess is my version of being successful. But also I know that like you just said, the line is constantly being changed, constantly being moved.
Yeah.
To, like, so when I am able to quit my day job and I'm just living off comedy, success is going to look different. You know what I mean? So, and I know that, but, so I guess it comes down to like, doing comedy, and I want success to be, me doing comedy and being happy, and like, bam. And then everything else that happens, and I trust the process. But doing stand-up comedy, which is my passion, and being happy doing it, I wish I could just keep that as success, because that's really all I need.
That's it. I mean, cause bro, like I told you before we recorded, I got a buddy that does bar shows.
Yeah.
Touring the nation. Bar shows are for people that don't know, bar shows are the hardest place to perform comedy. And I've done them in biker bars. I've done them in country bars.
Oh, yeah.
I've done them in black supper clubs. I've played every kind of bar show you can play. And there's usually a pool table, or they're there, especially in the South.
People
on Saturday
playing pool.
night. Yeah, we're here to see Alabama play LSU. They do not want to hear a comedian.
Yeah.
And I've played all those. And then success, I had to stop and go, what is success?
Yeah.
And then my success one day was just like, am I paying the bills for
Right.
this?
Right.
Or, oh, wow, I guess I'm successful.
Yeah.
Man. Do I have, and then I would see people like, I used to think, oh, you got to have 50,000 followers to be successful. But then all of a sudden I realized some people bought those followers.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm looking at like, you got 50,000 followers, but only 124 people react with your post. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really match up.
Yeah, so then I started
like
going, maybe that's not
likes,
success.
Yeah.
I got 4,800 followers, but a lot of those dirtbags know me, and they come to the shows and they support what I do, and they love me, and I love them.
Right.
And that's like, I'm a success at this. This is success I wanted. So,
Bam.
but it is finding out what success is, and I think a lot of times we don't tell young comics, figure that out first. Figure out what success is at every level for you. Sit down and count your roses, smell the flowers, and go, oh, I'm successful at this level. I'm 100%. Doing what I want to do. I will tell you just one thing my therapist told me, and I'm going to share it with you.
Yeah.
And it was that, because we don't do this, a lot of people, when I talk to them, when we're in our depressive episodes, when I was in mine, I was the depression.
Right.
But what he told me, he said, no, you're the planet. Depression is the weather.
Right.
You're not the weather.
Right.
So you have to be able to separate yourself from the weather. So the earth is our planet, but a hurricane is just a small part of that year in the earth's life.
Right.
So you are the earth. Your depression is the hurricane. It's only a small part of your year.
I like that.
Yeah. It changed how I had to think about it, because 100%. I've had those.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not getting out this bed.
No, it seems like it's forever, and it seems like it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's ever going to pass. And yeah, your depression, it truly does feel like you feel like you're owned by this thing, and it does pass, and especially if what you did, which was reach out and get help, it passes.
Yeah.
And boy, it's such a relief when it does.
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. There have been days though. And I try to tell people, man, it's like, I don't even think it's like one day it ends. It's still there.
Oh, yeah.
Like depression will still call me some days and be like, hey, you want to go meet for lunch? Nah, I'm busy. We go through it. We still got, I don't want to meet with you this week, but I'm coming by anyway.
Like you said, the weather. It's weather.
Yeah, it's the weather. So I guess I got to deal with some rainy days.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I've had those, man, but it's one of those things where it's kind of like you got to be able to separate yourself from that mood, man, and be able to go, still going to wake up tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to be rainy, but I'm going to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone said that to me recently. They're like, yeah, you feel like shit right now, but you can handle it. You've felt like shit before. You can handle it, and you're not going to feel like shit soon. And that's what is good to remember when I am depressed, is that, okay, I feel terrible, but it's not the end of the world, even though it feels like it.
Yes.
It's not.
You ever had a show that you were like, I'm about to quit comedy after this?
Yes.
Oh, God, man.
Yeah.
When was your last one?
Let's see. There's so many.
I can tell you this year I played Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And it was the worst. I died. I ate crap for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It was the worst performance I've ever had in the last 10 years.
And you felt
it. And I remember hanging out and Cody was doing his set.
Yeah.
And one of the comics we were talking to at the show was like, hey, how was Broken Arrow? And I was like, we were on a run.
Yeah.
And we were 5 days into a 7-day run. And I remember telling him, I said, bro, I was ready to kill myself after that Broken Arrow show. But the only reason I stayed alive is because I got to get Cody home.
Right.
And I remember telling him that, and he laughed.
That's why.
And as soon as he laughed, I laughed. And I was like, that's the darkest thing I've ever said. But every comic that had depression knew what I meant
100%.
in that one moment. They all, everybody that laughed is like, if you know, you know. We've everybody laughing at that gets it.
100%.
But yeah, it was like, oh yeah, I'm only alive to get this dude back to his house, man. Because I could not have been on the road by myself for that one. It sucked so bad.
Oh, yeah. Man. So one that came to mind is right before I moved to Austin. I was, so there's this place called Madcaps, and I was featuring.
Yeah.
Do you know It's
Is that what? Is it Florida place?
Adam Lowry has a club. But it's this comic from New York. It's this Irish guy.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm gearing up for Austin, and I'm getting my stuff together, and my, trying to get my 15 real good.
Yeah.
Feeling good about it, but also suffering from depression at the same time. And I had been sober, but I stopped going to meetings, and I was a wreck. So anyway, I featured, and I fell apart on stage like I never have before. Like I opened my opener, trusty opener bombed. And then from there, kind of like we were talking about, completely started unraveling it's like, well, where do I go from here? And then I just bombed in the next one. And then for the first time in a long time, my mind completely went blank. I'm talking like I couldn't think of anything. Like my mind was gone, and I'm looking at the crowd, and I couldn't think of a single joke, not like one. So I don't know how long it was, because I never listened to this recording on my phone. But I mean, I was just staring, and then I'm like 4 or 5 minutes into, like, I think a 20-minute feature set.
Oh gosh.
And so I thought of this one bit I have where I tell a story about a date that went bad, and involves me reading off of a text message, but I'm in like panic mode, and that's one of those jokes where you really have to be loose. And so I told a joke that was probably 4 or 5 minutes in about a minute and a half, and then I'm like, okay, I got like maybe a chuckle from it, and then I'm like, okay, let me get back on track. Told one more joke, and then that bombed, and then I blanked out again. So I just got off stage. I'm like, I can't finish. And then to bring up the headliner, I forgot the headliner's name.
Oh my God, dude, everything that could go wrong went wrong. Yeah, those are the ones where you're like, yeah, I'm done. This is not for me.
I went outside. I don't think I can emulate the feeling and of course the headliner, I can't think of his name. Maybe Mick Thomas.
He was out of New York?
I think, yeah. It's this guy that does this, I think he's a seller comic. I think he is.
Okay.
And I think his name's Mick Thomas. But anyway, he made me, he came out and said, dude, it's fine. And, but I'm talking like, I was like, I can't, in my head, I'm like, how do I do comedy? How does that comedian that just did that, how am I moving to Austin? How am I, in my head, I was just like, I might as well quit. How am I going to go to Austin? And I got over it. But boy, that was bad.
Once again, nobody ever talks to you about how to prepare for a shutdown or failure.
Yeah.
We have no plans for this stuff.
No.
And I think, to me, that's like my thing as a veteran comic, man. I start realizing that's the stuff I need to share with people. It's like, you ever had a show that sucked so bad? How do you come back from that?
Oh, yeah.
Like in my brain, I really do think sometimes I'm just so hard-headed and obstinate. It's just like, oh, that sucked. I can't wait till tomorrow night. I gotta prove I'm better than this.
Yeah.
I know I'm better than
That's
this.
what you need. That's the mindset you need.
But that's in my brain at the show. I'm thinking, I'm better than that. I prove it tomorrow night. And then as soon as I get home, you're not better than that. I'm like, no, why can't that guy that was at the club stay with me here at the house?
The two polar opposite sides.
They're definitely on both shoulders. The guy on his shoulders going, you're way better than this. Don't let these dudes. That's not you. This guy's like, you suck.
You suck. Quit.
You should go get that job at Geico, like your dad told you. Oh no!
Write another manifesto.
That's it. Oh, this is better than the last one. I'm just like,
it's wild.
It is, but that's the thing, man. That so many of us, and we don't talk to each other about it. And it's also one of the weirdest things. Like we're going through it now, where when the guys start talking about their feelings and their emotions, there's this very loud base of people that think, like the Andrew Tates of the world. No, that's not alpha. And I'm like, bro, it takes way more strength for me to admit that I have hurt feelings.
Right.
And that I don't feel good about life some days.
Yeah, because you're being real. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I don't want to be.
That's an alpha thing to do, is to be open and real with someone else.
Somebody said that was not alpha. And I said, try it. Go to the woman you love, stare her in the face and tell her, my feelings are hurt.
Right.
And then hope she's not going to weaponize this against me. Come on, do that. Show me real strength. You tell a woman you love your hurts and your disappointments. And say, wish my dad would have hugged me more. Say that to a woman and hope she doesn't weaponize that the next fight. Andrew Tate, do that. Okay.
Sorry your dad never hugged you.
I don't want to hear about you, Andrew.
Stupid pussy.
Tell your dad that you love him and you're disappointed that you didn't talk more. Tell me. That's strength, buddy.
Yeah,
so it's weird. We should do that more, man. We got to do that. In fact, that should be our thing. We should do that more as men. We should be able to look at her. Hey, man, how you doing? I do it now because I was in that dark place, but I'll call my boys now and be like, hey, what's going on? Hadn't heard from you in a couple of days. I noticed you've been offline. I noticed you're not in the group chats. What's happening? And then, the other thing I'll be able to do is, and I say this a lot to my male friends, I say, hey, man, I love you. Take care of yourself. That took me years to do. Tell another man, hey, I love you, bro. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you have no idea how much someone needs to hear I love you sometimes. Like, dude, I need to hear it sometimes. And you
want to hear it more? Say it more.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm going to tell you 100%. Say it more
and
to
it's
people.
out of my comfort zone still, but I've been saying it more. And when I feel love for someone, I've been making myself say, hey, I love you. I'm not, if I feel it and I want to say it, I've been saying it a lot more, which is good.
No, because it does something for you to say it.
100%.
Just say, hey, man, I love you and I'm rooting for you. I want the best for you.
Yeah.
And man, and it's just like it somehow it breaks a chain on you. You don't know what that chain is. Maybe it's the toxic masculinity chain, but you say it that one time, you're going, freedom. Oh, that felt good to say that, to let them know I care about them. And then they start doing it to you. They check on you. I have friends, man, they're weird about it. They know me sometimes better than I know myself. Hey, I noticed something that you posted or you did this, and I'll be like, how did you know? That was kind of, there's a rhythm to your conversations that we're picking up on.
And those friends that just get you and just see the rhythm, like you said. And then, like, I have a friend, my buddy Anthony. He knows when I'm off just by a little bit. And just like a little bit, he knows something. I mean, he can see it in my eye sometimes, I think.
Yeah, that's what's so weird. It's like, how did you know? Because I just know the mask was on. I thought, and I didn't even know I put the mask on. And they're like, "No, bro, there was something in your rhythm off." And
those are the good friends.
Oh, the ones you like. Hey, if I swear to God, if I win the lottery, you're here. Break you off $1 million. You're coming with me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have a rich friend. You got to come with me, buddy.
Yeah,
we're not going to be in different tax brackets here. I won $420 million. Here's 2 for you. Get that.
Yeah, and I can do that. I should definitely do that more. Is as much as I go through, as much as I suffer, or ironically, the thing that brings me out of it is when I reach out to someone else and help someone else and get out of my own way. So I think I need to reach out to people more you do. It's like
I promise you, because the minute I start doing it, there have been times I've given advice to somebody, and I'll be talking to him about something, and then I'll say, "But this and this," and then all of a sudden I'll be like, I needed that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Hold on, bro. Let me write this down. I actually might be kind of smart.
Yeah.
I 100% needed the advice I just gave you.
100%. There's so much time, I'm so good at giving advice to other people that I don't take. And I will say it as I'm giving him, like, I understand that I need to take all this advice I'm giving to you.
This is why you're here, to remind me I needed this.
Yeah,
No, bro, dude, first of all, I'll tell you this. I've had a blast talking to you.
Yeah, me too.
It's been awesome.
This has been great, Roderick.
I needed somebody to talk to about this stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I told you before the show about Sims Foundation.
Yeah.
And how what they did is it's here in Austin, and they set up this thing for musicians to get mental health free of charge. You have a mental health issue, we're going to get you set up with counseling. And I think we need that in comedy.
I do too.
But we also need a dialogue about it.
100%.
So let me ask you this. What if we did a podcast and we brought in comedians and we talked to them all the time about this? Would you do that with me?
100%. I would love that.
Cool.
That would be amazing.
That's what we should do.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Ah!
That's our show.
Man, that's a great, oh my God.
Yeah, because I think there's so many of us that need what we do.
So many people. And really, they just need a little knock on the door, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And because like I said, when we were talking before, is just me opening up just a little bit. People start opening up to me.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so cathartic for all of us. Obviously, we need to seek help separately, but
100.
just opening up the door and talking about our mental health is like so important. And boy, I mean, you drive home just feeling so much better and less alone, you know?
Oh, gosh, dude, I'm telling you, in group therapy, I remember sitting in that thing and just hearing these stories and going, whoa, I am not crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there really was something to what I was feeling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're not alone. You're not crazy, or at least you're not alone and you're crazy. And, you know, you feel, because depression is such an isolating feeling that you really do all these like scary thoughts. I mean, thoughts about suicide, thoughts about that you'd be better off dead, thoughts, insecurities. They all seem like so specific to me. And so like, I'm the only piece of shit that's going through this, that can't get out of bed, and it's so much more common. I mean, like in my head, all the other comics I see smiling out and about are doing great, and it's not the case.
I bet if we put 300 comics in a group chat, and the minute you woke up, you told us I'm awake, and then you have to tell us when you get out of bed. There are going to probably be 150 of that 300 that are like, I'm still in this bed 2 hours later.
Oh, yeah.
Still trying to
100%.
debate life.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, for sure.
And if this is something I even want to do. And I was like, yeah, we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is alone in it. Now, if you're one of those comics and you're like, oh my God, my life's great and I've never had depression, you're an alien. You're the weirdo.
You're the weirdo. You are the exception to the rule.
I don't trust you with my life, you weirdo.
I don't either.
Yeah. How can you be so happy? Nothing's going wrong.
There's something going on.
You're a sociopath. You're a serial killer.
Yeah. They've killed someone at some point in their life.
Body in that dude's basement. I don't trust you.
And they don't feel any remorse.
None.
There's
none
no. I always like, I always think they're either faking it really well or they're an anomaly because
we've all had, and the thing I've learned is bands, comedians, entertainers, if you create art of any kind, those are some of the most wildly creative people, but the most wildly volatile emotionally.
Right. Yeah.
And their self-talk can be harmful.
Yeah, for sure.
And comedians, we're so self-deprecating for laughs.
Right.
I don't think a lot of times, I never thought like about some of the stuff I said on stage and was like, am I becoming the joke or was the joke coming out of my real life? And then, so, you know, now I'm at a point like the stuff I write now is very personal. So I'm willing to talk about my kids, and I'm talking about my divorces, and I'm talking about, you know, owning where I was a problem, and realizing where that wasn't your fault. Some of that was them.
Right.
You know, but I'm learning to separate that stuff.
Separate it. And I wonder if it's because you finally recently have addressed that stuff outside of stand-up comedy. So the fact that you have dealt with that shit, now it's less raw and you can joke about it easier now.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times we joke just to not deal with it. But now when I joke about it now, it's like, oh, no, this is something I dealt with.
You dealt with. You could joke about it now.
I faced the shadow guy, and the shadow guy is a wild dude.
Yeah, that's why it's hard to joke about stuff that's raw, I think, that just has happened. Because like people will be like, well, that was dark. You should joke about it on stage. I'm like, no, it's a open wound right now.
That has not been sewed shut. I need that to heal before I can talk about it. It took me years to talk about, you know, I was at one point when my second wife, I had 4 kids and she left and it was just me and the 4 kids.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the mental capacity at that time to say, I can just do this by myself. I don't need her.
Mm-hmm.
I could just raise these kids.
Yeah.
I'm young, but I could do this. But I think I let a lot of her parents, my parents, there was a lot of internal conflict and stuff going on, and still, I still love her and I should give her there was a lot of that crap, and I was just like, you know what, that's probably when I should have went to therapy.
Yeah.
And I couldn't joke about a lot of this stuff. And now I look back at it and I go, that was kind of funny. That's something I can talk about this about. But it's definitely, and I think also I hear the horror stories here in Austin all the time, you know, people dating and they're like, this guy said this to me, and I'll be like, that man needs therapy. I've heard horror stories.
Some red flags that people look past for sure.
And I'm like, girlfriend, don't you dare. I become that guy. I'm everybody's gay bestie. Not gay, just letting that be known. Okay?
You need to run, girl.
Yeah, I am that guy. I'll hear horror stories and be like, girl, that's not, he needs to go to therapy. That is not normal.
Yeah.
The way he thinks is not natural or normal. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, and then I hear guys doing it, and I'll go, bro, I married that chick. Okay. That was my first wife. Get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
Stop. Yeah. You just normalize, when you love someone, you just normalize the insane behavior that they do because, you know, you just have no choice.
Well, now I look at it like this because of my daughters. I'm always like, how would this look if we were on a Netflix documentary about this? And they're going to be like, why didn't you leave in the first month? Well, she did this magic trick with her tongue.
Right.
And I was stuck.
Yeah, you don't know the behind the scenes thing.
Yeah, she was a terrible person, but...
Yeah, and your miniseries is going to be people screaming like, you idiot.
Yeah, everybody's watching it like, this dude's an idiot, man. I'd have left day one. No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because on day 2, she's going to do that magic trick, and you're going to be like, we're going to Jared.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
well, bro, I don't want to hold you up. This is, I guess, how long we've been here? Probably about an hour. We did 53 minutes. Dude, this is a good talk for 53 minutes, man.
Amazing.
All right, so we got to get some more guests in here. And we're gonna,
absolutely.
This is our new job. We're going to be therapy for all the depressed comics in Austin, and we're going to get them the help they need.
Hell yeah.
Okay, that's our whole mission, bro.
Amazing.
Dude, so I'm Roderick McDaniel. This is my boy, Jimmy Moynihan. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Dude, I always worry about mispronouncing people's names.
Nailed it.
Because I'm going to tell you whose name I do this on purpose.
Who's that?
Dulce Mac. I always call her Dulce. Anytime we're on a show, I will say, it's one of my favorite writers, and I will purposely mispronounce her name. Dulce Mac coming to the stage, and she'll say, how you going to say you love me and then get my name, mispronounce my name? And she said it every time. And I'll know it's Dulce, and I'm still like, I got to call her Dulce.
Yeah.
Every time I do that to her. I'm sorry, Dulce. You are one of my favorites, but I also treat you like one of my daughters, and it's my job to terrorize you.
Yeah. We love you, Dulce.
Love you, baby. All right, guys. I guess we're out of here. But if they want to find you, how do they find you on?
Instagram, Jimmy.Moynihan.
Okay. And find me at Coach Silky on Instagram, and hit us up if you have questions or there's things you want us to talk about or address. Hit us up, man. I'm always down to do that stuff, and we can turn those conversations into episodes.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, start thinking about some comics you want to put on this sofa.
100%, yeah.
Because I got some in mind.
Yeah, I do too, for sure.
I got one I really want to sit down with.
I can't wait till I hear.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Well, guys, thanks for tuning in. See ya.